Ever wondered why some spouses keep properties in their parents' names? It seems like an odd thing to do, doesn't it? You might even think there's something secretive or dishonest about it. But the truth is, there are many reasons why one partner might choose to keep a property under their parents' name, and it's not always about hiding something. In today's video, we're going to explore the complex motivations behind this decision and how it can affect marriages in ways you might not expect. From financial protection to cultural norms, emotional insecurities to family obligations, this is a topic that has layers, so grab a seat and let's dive in. 1. Asset protection and financial security. One of the most common reasons a spouse may choose to keep a property in their parents' name is asset protection. Now, at first glance, this might seem like an attempt to hide something, but it can actually be a well-thought-out strategy for securing financial stability. Let's break it down. Protection from divorce settlements. Imagine this scenario. You and your spouse have been married for years, and now, for whatever reason, you're going through a divorce. If you've kept properties under your parents' name, they may not be considered marital assets. This can be a way to protect your wealth from being divided in a divorce settlement. Some people, particularly those with substantial assets, see this as a necessary step to safeguard their financial future in case things don't work out. Debt protection. What if one partner has a history of poor financial decisions or debts they've struggled to pay off? If the property is in their parents' name, it can be a way to shield the family's wealth from creditors or lawsuits. Think of it as an emergency strategy, a way to protect the family home or business from potential financial disaster. This might seem like a strategic move, but to the other spouse, it might look like a lack of trust or transparency. Tax benefits. In certain situations, keeping property in a family member's name can provide tax advantages. For instance, a family member might qualify for specific exemptions or tax deductions that wouldn't apply if the property were jointly owned. The person who made this decision might view it as a way to optimize their financial situation, but again, without understanding the reasoning, the other spouse may feel left out or disconnected from financial matters. These strategies can be practical and even necessary in some cases, but they can also create emotional divides. The spouse who is excluded from the property ownership might feel that they're being shut out of important financial decisions, which can breed resentment and a lack of trust. 2. Cultural or familial norms. In some cases, the decision to keep property in a parent's name isn't about financial strategy at all. It could be deeply rooted in cultural or familial traditions. For certain families, assets are seen as a collective responsibility, meant to stay within the family's lineage. Let's explore this further. Cultural legacy and family expectations. In many cultures, there's a strong belief that inherited assets should remain within the family. It's not just about ownership, it's about continuing a family legacy. In these cultures, it's often customary for properties to stay in a parent's name, with the intention of passing them down to future generations. For some, it's a matter of tradition and respect for their family's wishes, even if it creates tension with their spouse. Family-owned businesses. This can also apply to situations where one spouse comes from a family that owns a business. Often, business ownership remains in the hands of the parents, even if the spouse is actively involved in running it. The idea here is that the business is part of the family's heritage, and ownership may never be fully shared. The spouse may feel obligated to keep these assets in the family name as a way of honoring their parents' wishes, even if their partner doesn't fully understand or agree with the decision. It's important to recognize that these practices often have little to do with mistrust or secrecy. In fact, it's about honoring family bonds and traditions that are deeply ingrained. However, if these traditions aren't communicated well, the spouse on the receiving end of this decision may feel excluded or disconnected from the family's financial planning. 3. Trust and mistrust issues. Now, let's talk about trust, or, more accurately, mistrust. In some marriages, the decision to keep a property under a parent's name may be a red flag for trust issues between spouses. If one partner feels uneasy about the other's financial behavior or decision-making, they might take steps to protect their assets from potential harm. Here's how this plays out. Financial mistrust. If one spouse has a history of financial mismanagement, overspending, or poor money management, the other partner might be reluctant to share financial control. Keeping property in the parent's name is a way to ensure that these assets are protected, even if it means keeping them out of joint ownership. For the partner who feels left out, it can feel like a betrayal, or a message that they are not trusted with family wealth. Emotional security. In other cases, the decision might stem from deep-seated fears of betrayal. A partner who's worried about infidelity or divorce might view keeping assets in the family name as a form of emotional security. If the relationship falls apart, they want to ensure that they don't lose their wealth. This could be especially true if they've seen others go through painful divorces where assets were unfairly divided. While this may seem like a protective move, it can be damaging to the relationship in the long term. The spouse who is left out of financial decisions may feel rejected or insecure, which only deepens the emotional rift between partners. 4. Financial independence and control. For some individuals, keeping property in their parents' name isn't about distrust, it's about maintaining control and financial independence. Let's say one partner is more financially independent, while the other relies on them for support. In these situations, the partner who owns the property may decide that keeping assets separate is a way to retain control over their wealth, especially if they worry about becoming financially vulnerable. Power dynamics in the relationship. In some cases, the decision to keep assets in the parent's name is about power. The spouse who owns the property may feel the need to maintain control over financial decisions. They might worry that sharing ownership with a financially dependent partner could lead to disagreements, or that they might lose control if the relationship were to end. While this might seem like a logical move for financial security, it can lead to resentment and inequality in the relationship. The financially dependent partner might feel excluded, and the sense of power imbalance can undermine the marriage. 5. Previous relationships or marital history. Another reason for keeping property in a parent's name could be rooted in past experiences. If one spouse has gone through a difficult divorce or faced financial challenges in previous relationships, they might feel the need to protect themselves from similar situations. Learning from past mistakes, maybe they've experienced the pain of losing assets in a divorce or had a previous spouse who mishandled money. As a result, they might choose to keep properties separate to avoid repeating those financial mistakes. This might feel like a safeguard to them, but to their current partner, it could seem like a lack of trust or commitment to the relationship. Fear of history repeating itself. For someone who's been burned before, there's a fear that history could repeat itself. And that fear can translate into keeping properties separate to prevent emotional and financial devastation in the future. While it's understandable to want to protect oneself, it's also important to recognize that this fear can create walls in a marriage. The inability to trust each other fully with financial matters can have a long-lasting impact on the relationship. 6. Avoiding conflict or difficult conversations. Sometimes, the decision to keep property in a parent's name is simply about avoiding difficult conversations. Financial discussions can be uncomfortable, especially in relationships where there's already tension. Rather than discuss property ownership openly, one partner might prefer to keep things the way they are to avoid a confrontation. Fear of conflict. Talking about money is never easy. If one partner knows that the subject of property ownership will lead to arguments or hurt feelings, they might avoid bringing it up entirely. By keeping the property under a parent's name, they feel like they're keeping the peace. However, avoiding these conversations only leads to greater problems down the road. Lack of communication can breed resentment and erode trust, making it harder for the couple to work through financial issues together. 7. The good enough mentality. In some marriages, one partner may have mentally or emotionally checked out. They might not be fully invested in the relationship, and as a result, they take a more detached approach to finances. Keeping property in a parent's name can be a sign that they're no longer fully committed to the partnership. Emotional disengagement. In a good enough marriage, where both partners are just going through the motions, keeping property under a parent's name might be a way of signaling that they're not really concerned about building a future together. This detachment can be dangerous for the relationship, as it suggests a lack of shared goals or commitment. What it means for the marriage. The decision to keep properties in a parent's name is not something to be taken lightly. While there are valid reasons for doing so, whether it's about financial protection, cultural beliefs, or personal insecurities, it's important to recognize the potential impact on the relationship. When financial decisions are made without clear communication, they can create resentment, insecurity, and trust issues. A lack of transparency can lead to emotional distance, and over time, it may affect the marriage in ways that are hard to repair. If you find yourself in a situation where your spouse has kept properties in their parent's name, it's crucial to talk openly about it. Understand the reasoning behind their decision and address any concerns you may have. In some cases, seeking the help of a financial planner, marriage counselor, or therapist can help facilitate those tough conversations. So, the decision to keep properties in a parent's name is more complicated than it seems. Whether it's about protecting assets, honoring family traditions, or dealing with trust issues, it's a choice that can have profound implications for a marriage. The key to navigating this issue is honesty, communication, and a mutual understanding of each other's motivations. What do you think? Have you ever been in a situation where your spouse kept property in their parents' name? Or maybe you've made that decision yourself? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to get notified when I release new content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.